course, with the Oakland A's playing their final game ever in Oakland today, I thought it was important that we bring back some of the franchises that were also stripped away from their home cities in recent years. For one reason or another, owners pulled the plug on their cities and these teams. Fan bases have never been the same since then. It's really selfish. But I think the owners don't really realize, or at least the ones that have stripped away their teams, yeah, they own the club, but the club always belongs to the fans. The fans are the ones that buy in, they pay the money, they go to the games, they buy the merchandise, they win and lose with the club. So when the team is taken away, just like they are right now in Oakland by John Fisher, it lasts a big shadow. So let's go ahead and go into some of the more recent examples of when this has happened. We'll keep it in Oakland. Let's start with the Raiders. They were the first Oakland team to get out of there. The Golden State Warriors were shortly after, moving to San Francisco across the bay. But the Raiders have done this twice now. They left Los Angeles, they left Oakland, and now they're in Las Vegas of all places. Raiders Nation is pretty much everywhere, so it didn't affect the city too much. Granted that a lot of the Raiders fans are still here in LA, but it's still a big deal. San Diego Chargers. This team was completely ripped away from their home. There's only one major sports team in San Diego right now, and that's the Padres. San Diego is one of the biggest markets in the entire United States, and they don't have an NFL or an NBA team, or an NHL team for that matter. But this was bad when it happened. The owners of the Chargers are complete cheapskates, and they didn't want to fork over a lot of their own money to build a brand new stadium, which is very similar to what the Oakland A's are dealing with right now. Of course, the Seattle Supersonics. They will be getting a team here within the next 5 years, guaranteed, but what happened to them is really bad. The ownership group that purchased the Sonics said that they would never move them. Only within a year after buying them, they moved the team to Oklahoma City of all places. They've been without a Supersonics team since I think 2008, and that's going to change here very soon, but I can't wait to get them back in. Of course, you can't do baseball without mentioning the other team that was stripped, Montreal Expos. You guys remember them? They became the Washington Nationals, and they eventually wound up winning a World Series. At one point, Canada had two major league teams, and the Expos had one of the best logos of all time, and their last prominent player was one of my favorite players of all time, Vladimir Guerrero. But Montreal has a big baseball standing. Eventually, they will get another franchise back. But the way they went down and how they were stripped was also pretty brutal. But the worst one to me was in 1996. I'm not sure if any of you guys realize this, but the Baltimore Ravens were not an expansion franchise. They were the team that was pulled from Cleveland. They were the original Cleveland Browns. The Browns have a long and storied history. But at some point in 1995-96, the Cleveland team that were the Cleveland Browns, they moved to Baltimore and they became the Baltimore Ravens. And they took all the players with them. And then what happened immediately after that, a brand new expansion team was created, and that team is called the Cleveland Browns, and they have all the records. What makes this worse is that Cleveland Browns team eventually won the Super Bowl, I think 6 years later, with Ray Lewis and Jamal Lewis and all those guys. And they're division rivals at this point. So if you're Cleveland, you watch your team get stripped away, become another team entirely, and you've been in mediocrity ever since. You've been one of the worst franchises ever, and now you're paying Deshaun Watson a bunch of money. This one is horrible. Actually might be the worst relocation in all of sports history, but that's just my opinion. Name some in the comments that I wasn't able to get to, and which one do you think is the most egregious?